Hello, work besties. Today we have Alan and Kevin, and their story is a testament to the strength of their friendship as well as a shared purpose. But what key lesson did they learn about balancing personal growth as well as maintaining that supportive friendship? You're going to have to stay to the end to find that out.
Hi, I'm Claude.
And I'm Jess.
We are corporate employees by day, entrepreneurs by night, and work besties for life.
Join us as we explore how work besties lift each other up, laugh through the chaos, and thrive together in every industry.
Work besties!
Welcome to Work Besties, Kevin and Alan. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you so very much for having us. We're excited to chat with dual podcast hosts like we are.
And dual work besties.
Yes, 100%.
You two know the deal of being work besties. A lot of people told us in the beginning, don't do it. It won't work out. And we're very grateful we stuck with it because this is awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Why don't you two talk about how you two started?
I was somewhat successful in my corporate America career, but success externally led to a lot of stuff that I was dealing with internally. So I went through some mental health problems. I had some suicidal ideations. Ended up starting a podcast. I didn't know anything about podcasting before Alan introduced me to interview style YouTube channels because he had me on his YouTube channel. Fell in love with that whole thing. I always wanted to help people. I just never knew how I wanted to do it. Started my podcast. Alan was the first guest that I had. Ended up dealing with some suicidal ideations and mental health problems at my job. I left my job in 2018. And then Alan and I partnered up together because he was my mentor at the time. He was the person who knew way more about self-improvement, way more about business. Obviously, I am taller and better looking than he is, so that has really worked out in my favor over the years.
Yin and the yang.
Yeah, you have to have that, Claude. It's very important, right? But we had a very similar thought process of what got us in trouble in life was lack of clarity. It was lack of self-improvement, and it was lack of personal development. So if we could bring that to the world through a podcast, that would be the thing that we could do. And now, as of today, we recorded our 2000th episode right before this. So we've been doing this since 2018 full-time, since 2017. So we have a podcast all about self-improvement. Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
A huge kudos for those that are not in podcasting, which the number that don't even make it to 50 is pretty astronomical. The fact that you're at 2000, wow.
Well, I think it speaks to how lucky we are to have each other. Right? I like to think that I would have gotten here without Alan. There's no way I would have. I probably wouldn't have gotten past 15 or 20. Alan, I think, would have been way more successful alone than I would have been successful alone, but we've definitely helped each other stay consistent for sure.
That reminds me of Jess and I. Like Jess, I'm sure would be more successful by herself than me by myself.
So you're me, Claude.
That's
yes. I'm Kevin.
It's the yin and the yang. We need each other to help build each other up. 2000 episode. What was the podcasting world like 8 years ago?
There were far less podcasts.
Yeah.
The whole video thing wasn't really a thing. Nobody was doing virtual interviews. So yeah, I think there was a lot of people just kicking the tires on what this newish thing could be. The thing that was beneficial for us is not a lot of people were taking it that seriously. We went all in. We were traveling to interview people. We were spending lots of money that we didn't have. We were doing all the stuff. And I think the other important piece is 2017, 2018, it was, I won't say a lot easier to get big guests, but there weren't as many people reaching out to them. Now, people are just getting bombarded with messages. So I think the playing field was a little bit more level back then. Did I miss anything, Alan?
I think social media was different back then, for sure. Instagram was still really, really useful. And it's not useful now. We still use it. We use Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. We use LinkedIn as well. But Instagram was, you could DM an author and they'd get back to you that day. Now, again, I think part of that was because I had a following and I was in fitness and I was a fitness model. I mean, we were getting DMs from listeners regularly, constantly. Yeah. And we didn't realize at the time that wasn't normal, right? So we went from the first year, we only did 1,054 listens to the second year, we did like 20 5,000. Our growth rate was nuts back then. Now we're much more successful, 175 countries, 2,000 episodes, but it's definitely a different game now for sure.
So it was easier to really establish yourself back then and then grow at the same time as the podcast world was growing.
Back then, people weren't starting podcasts to make them into businesses. Some people were, because there's always going to be people ahead of the curve on that. But most people were like, let me see what happens with this. So I think the failure rate back then, it's high today, but it was different back then. It was just, if you could be consistent and you were committed, you were already going to get ahead of most people. There's two of us. So if you're going to work for 16 hours, we're going to work for 16 hours times 2. So it's going to be really hard to keep up with that.
So for our listeners, what is the name of your podcast?
It is called Next Level University.
Next Level U, Next Level University, Next Level U, pun intended. So I'm Alan version 3.6. I'm 36, even though I look 15. Kevin is 35. Kevin version 3.5. That joke, I used to say I'm hoping to hit puberty at 37, but now I got a little mustache going. Can't say that anymore.
Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you. First mustache at 36. Seriously, it was a big deal for me. But anyways, so Next Level University, it's 1% improvement in your pocket, heart-driven but no BS, holistic self-improvement for dream chasers. It's anyone who has an aspiration or a dream who wants to get to the next level of their life, love, health, and wealth. So self-improvement in your pocket from anywhere on the planet, completely free. It's on the deepest level. It's Kevin and I are the male role models we never had growing up. I think that's the deeper purpose underneath it, because we both grew up without fathers. But I think that it's that 1% improvement per day thing of just, you need to be inspired, motivated, and educated a little bit each day. You're not going to change your whole world overnight, but you can get a little better each day. And if you do the math on that, I'm a big engineering math guy, it changes everything. I mean, our life is night and day compared to when we both had our, what we call our quarter life crises. Kevin mentioned suicidal ideation. I had my car accident. And so we both grew up in the same town, both grew up without fathers. My father passed away when I was 2. His father, he met when he was 27 for the first time. When we were both in our mid-20s, he had suicidal ideation, so he faced mortality. And I got in that car accident. My dad died in a car. That just flipped the script for me. After that, we reconnected. We were friends in middle school. He didn't like me in high school, and I didn't like that he didn't like me, so we didn't get along. And then we reconnected in our mid-20s, and we started spending Father's Days together every Father's Day. We have been doing that ever since, so we've spent every Father's Day together for 8 years. We used to fish. Now we have a charity for single parents, children of single parents, called the Next Level Hope Foundation. But essentially, we just 1% improvement every single day. That's our motto. And we are trying to lead by example and help people grow a little bit each day, not just in success and wealth, but in health and fitness and in their intimate relationship as well. Because we were both broke as a joke and single as hell back then, and really wildly unfulfilled. So
we were
now
in really good shape though at the time. We were in really good shape. So
I love
notice how I left that one out.
Drop that in, by the way. I
That's
was a model.
something.
Yeah,
That's the only thing that hasn't gotten better, to be honest.
And we do an episode every day. I know you asked about the frequency.
Yeah.
We do an episode
Every day.
every day. Christmas, birthdays, holidays, Sunday, it doesn't matter. There's an episode dropping every
And do you guys pre-record, or are they on every day?
Monday was the day we record. We tried to
Marathon
record
Mondays, what it was called.
Marathon Mondays. We would try to record 7 episodes. I'd come out of the office and go see my wife, and she'd say, "How many did you get done?" Just 1. Yeah, we had a lot of business talks today. So we used to batch them. We would try to do it all in one sitting. Now today's Friday, so we recorded tomorrow's and Sundays right before this.
Content is always so hard, right? Especially at 1 a day. So how do you keep up with staying fresh and relatable, always going with your theme of that 1%?
The benefits of being holistic self-improvement is that health, wealth, and love, while that seems narrow, we get to talk about kind of whatever we want. There's a lot that can fit into each of those, right? So we can talk fitness, we can talk consistency, community, we can talk about a lot of things. So that's number 1. We're narrow enough to be meaningful, but wide enough to where we can actually do an episode every day. What does our listener need? What do we want to talk about? Because if we don't have passion, it's not going to flow. And what's going to actually be clicked on? So those are sort of the 3 based on our understanding of our listener now. And that's evolved a lot over the years, obviously. So Kevin and I are growing, and Alan version 3.6 and Kevin version 3.5 are not passionate about the same things. We are. Self-improvement is the through line. So that's never changed. But we're both much more in business right now. So we have to we have to try to take, okay, what are you reading? All right, what am I reading? All right, I'm reading this book. Okay, what's the concept? Boom, boom, boom. So we try to keep it fresh, and that's actually why we don't batch. Because we've tried. We've literally tried to batch 14 episodes. So he went to Scotland last year. We had to batch, I think, 21 episodes is the most we've ever batched. And it was hard because it wasn't as fresh. We also, and I got to be very transparent about this, kind of have no life. I'm joking. We work really hard, and we work 6 days a week front facing, and then we still work on Sundays too. So our model doesn't work for everybody, and we're definitely workhorses that came from nothing. So that's a part of it too, that we got to be just transparent.
You commented about you've got a lot of clients. Do you try and take what's going on in your life with these clients and make that a part of the main focus?
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of keep it fresh too, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
We're very different. We are polar opposites, but very similar. It's very strange how this whole thing has worked out. I'll have a story, and then I'll think like, what could I do a podcast episode on that? Like, how could I make that an episode? So I was going shopping one time. It was around the holiday season. I went to Target in December. Worst idea ever of all time. Don't do that. But there was a guy helping me, and he's like, yeah, let me run to the back and grab your stuff. And he was very clearly overwhelmed. He was very clearly overworked. He was stressed out. There probably had been some people that weren't super nice to him. And he came over, and when he went to give me my bags, we like held hands for a second because I was trying to grab the bags. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, man. I was like, hey, you're good. Like, thank you so much for your help. I appreciate it so much. And we formulated an episode of like humility out of that. Is there any reason for me to further make that person's life/day hard? No, it's not that big of a deal. What are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
So I usually come with a story, and then we'll make an episode. Alan usually comes with a lesson, and then we'll make an episode from that. So I'm story first. Alan is lesson first. So as long as I'm experiencing life, we'll have a story. Alan's always learning, so we'll always have something. Yeah, it has to be something that we actually want to talk about. We used to be the podcast who I would do research and SEO, like what titles work, and we don't do that as much now. I think it's very important in the beginning, but now it's like, I'm going to title it this because that's what we talked about. And is it the best, most search engine friendly one? Probably not. But I want to make sure that we're doing it in the way that we want to do it now, more than playing the game. And that's been a big shift for us.
That's an area where you can get to, and you've built quite the community.
Yeah. Don't do that in the beginning. In the
All
beginning,
new podcasters, please note, build
you
your
gotta
community
learn that.
first.
Yeah, you gotta learn that stuff and see what works and see what doesn't. And we're privileged through work in things that we can test now versus in the beginning. Go ahead, Alan.
I'm starting BGU. So NLU is Next Level University. Podcast Growth University is his podcast because he's the podcast guy. And then I have Business Growth University starting this year because I'm the business guy. And so we call them listeners, longers, and business owners. So listeners want to learn from us. Longers want to build their own podcasts in their own communities. And then business owners are people who, like us, are screwed if they don't generate revenue. And so I coach the business owners. Some business owners want to start a podcast for marketing and branding. Some podcasters need to build a business, otherwise they go out of business. At this stage, I think Kevin's mastered the titles so much and so well that he can quick. He can real quick do things.
Do what the rest of us do, and just search the SEO terms.
Yeah, which in the beginning, like I think his brain is really good at going, okay, this is going to land with our audience. This is what will land with SEO, and this is what we know. And like, okay, boom. And half the time, I don't even agree with the title. But I also know that I'm an engineer and no one cares, right, about what I care about. We figured out he's good with people and I'm good with systems and structure and metrics. And every business needs both, by the way, if I can give a little side tangent. Every business needs to be really, really, really good at these two things. Systems, metrics, structures, discipline, boom, 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 organization. That's me, definitely. And then the other one is creative and with people. So Kevin's really good with people. Everyone likes him. Nobody likes me. He's good with people. And he's really good and very, very creative. I'm the metrics and system. I mean, he tracks 18 metrics and 19 habits. I think 18 as of today. But that's not because of him. It's because
I don't want to do that. I don't want to. But I have to.
Right. So the train tracks are set up for success, and then the creativity he flows within those train tracks.
Topic that we in the Work Bestie platform talk about a lot. You both are a yin and a yang, right? You complement each other, and it feels like the same thing is really necessary in a business partnership too. So because you guys are friends, What are some challenges or maybe even hacks you find are helpful because of your friendship with businesses?
I'm going to make this sound wrong. I'm going to just own it. So I'm a type A. I got all my awards in the background. I'm a type A. I always have been. I've been hiding it and too cowardly to say it, but I always have been. So make sure your yin is yanging. So I'm not as creative. I'm engineer. Everything's numbers. Everything's metrics. Everything's structure. Like that's who I am. And I think business needs that. But it also needs creative and a people person. Kevin and I are polar opposites in our thinking. He's short term. I'm long term. Actively paranoid and humble. I'm long term optimist. And we've switched in certain situations, especially when it comes to people. But ultimately, we have a yin and a yang, and that's great. But one of the things that is similar is our core values. We both came from very little. We both were broke as a joke when we were younger. And I told him this. I said, Kev, I never could work with you if you had any level of entitlement. We are earners to our core. And if you don't have humility and work ethic and you want like big rewards for minimal effort, you just will never like us because we aren't that way. We have a culture in our company and in our blood, for lack of better phrasing, just our upbringing of earn every dollar. There is no quick fix. There is no shortcut. There is no know your value and charge 10 grand, even though you've never done this before type of stuff inside of us. Like we both started coaching for free. And then it was $50 a week, and then it was 75, and then it was up from there. And so we've built this coming up on a $500,000 business, which is awesome. But like we started from nothing, literally and figuratively. And I think the core value that we have in common is impact first, money second. Okay, you can't have money last because you'll go out of business, but impact is first. Heart driven, but no BS, self-improvement. And I would say we're similar in our core, but we're very different in our thinking.
I have an answer, and it's an answer in the direction you wanted it, Jess, because that sounded supremely positive, which it is for the most part. I'll come to Alan, and I'll be like, brother, are you sitting down? I have the best idea maybe you've ever heard in your entire life, and it's maybe the dumbest idea that has ever been spoken audibly ever. Sometimes my creativity gets the best of me, and I will do things that are not necessarily best for momentum. But it's like, this seems like a really good opportunity. Why aren't we doing this? We could have an ice cream truck. Why don't we do that? Everybody needs ice cream. And Alan's like, Kev, holistic self-improvement for dream chasers. Okay, cool. So I'm a pain in the butt that way for sure. Alan is essentially my boss. I know it might not seem like that, but he is. And he's the CEO and he's the leader for a reason. Sometimes that sucks. When it goes from like, we're supposed to record from 6 to 7 p.m. and then it goes from 7 to 8 p.m. It's like, that kind of sucks. And very quickly I get over it because I'm way more grateful for the benefits than that slight pain in the butt inconvenience. So I think without the upside, the downside would kind of stink.
Mm-hmm.
But without the downside, you wouldn't get the upside.
Right.
It's as long as the benefits outweigh whatever else you're dealing with, and you have gratitude. I have gratitude for the fact that Alan is such a great leader. I would have crashed into the iceberg, backed up, and crashed into the iceberg again. We would be in trouble if I was running this.
For your ice cream.
I would. Thank you. See, that's
a lot of it.
I really like that positive mindset. That's
ice, can you?
That's what I need.
A little Titanic reference.
Over the last 8 years, I think we just have gotten to learn each other, and we know each other at a really deep level. And, I know Alan doesn't like when I talk about him as the leader, the great leader that he is. He gets nervous. That's my job to tell people about that because he won't say it himself. So yeah, we have a wonderful thing, but wonderful things do come with inconveniences at times. At what point in life are you not going to have some inconveniences? At least they're the higher quality ones as of today.
But I saw you grinning ear to ear. I want to hear your perspective.
Again, I'm going to say I'm Kevin.
I figured, Claude. I figured when you started smiling, I was like, that's...
Except that Jess also has the relationship with the people as well. Right?
Depends.
Yeah, I'm the Kevin. Jess is really the organizer, the number person.
She calls me Miss Bossy. That's what I get. I'm called CEO, so you're lucky.
No, I'm saying CEO. No, I would say CEO. It's actually funny because last time we were having drinks and something came up. I'm like, yeah, you're bossy. Since then, she texts him. It's like,
Miss Bossy here.
Bossy, But thank God for Jess, because if it was just me, we'd be nowhere. I would still be on my couch sending each other memes.
It's going to be very uncomfortable for you to allow her to say that, right? For the longest time, I wanted to save Kevin from admitting some of those things, but that's true humility. That's vulnerability, and that's courage. Yeah. The truth is, Kevin was going to be successful, but he wasn't going to be this successful. And you're not really allowed to say that socially, which is why everyone doesn't like me.
Or it wouldn't be as fun.
Well, it definitely wouldn't be as fun. He's hilarious.
And I wouldn't be as successful. That's a guarantee. This ice cream truck thing could take off, right? It could.
Next level ice cream.
It's true.
So one thing that I really want to make as clear as I can, because I think this is a golden nugget that I would have wanted, and I'm going to give it to you, Jess. I had Kevin rate me from 0 to 10 on a list of intimidation, signs of an intimidating character.
I'm too scared to do that.
There's 30 character traits. I can send them to you. And he gave me the lowest score I got on any of the 30 is an 8. And so it was 9.5 was the average. I added them all up in an average. One of the things that I'll share with everybody is that everyone I've ever coached, I coach 25 people currently, and it's been hundreds over the years. And I've been mentoring for 10 years, coaching for 8. Thousands and thousands of hours. I have them all tracked. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that so that you know I'm not just talking. The thing that I've found is that everyone is better at one thing or the other. So you are either really good at success and you have a lot of self-belief, and you're really good at systems and structure and success and organization, type A, what's known as conscientiousness in the Hexaco personality test, which Jess probably is, or you're really good at relationships. Now, a lot of people who are type A, we learn how to chameleon and how to dim ourselves to try to get along with people, but we intimidate the hell out of people when we are our true selves. So we basically usually shrink and we pretend not to believe in ourselves. We make fun of ourselves all the time, and it makes us socially accepted, and it makes us feel like we belong. But then behind the scenes, we're just like, let's go, baby, let's do it, right? See, it's resonating.
This is literally me every day.
This is a story that I think will make this land better than I can ever have articulated in the past. Kevin and I interviewed someone named Steven Kotler. So he wrote a book called The Art of Impossible, and this was back in 2019, and Kevin and I interviewed him for, I think, episode 6. And around that time, every Father's Day, we would spend together and we'd go fishing. And there was this Father's Day sort of family barbecue that we were at where I used to live. And Kev said, dude, I feel like I belong at the barbecue. I don't feel like I belong with Steven Kotler. Steven Kotler, peak performance, The Art of Impossible. I mean, heat flow. I mean, it's the research collective of just type A's, basically. Super achievers, how to do the impossible. It's never been done. The Michael Phelps of the world. Mm-hmm. And I said, Kev, I don't feel like I belong here at all. I mean, Steven Kotler and I were like kids in a candy store talking peak performance. And for us, that was a really big moment because that was when Kevin and I realized we were trying to be like each other and we were never going to win at that game. I wanted to be I was jealous of how likable this dude is. Everyone loves Kev. We'd give the same speech. I'm telling you, mine was better and everyone would love him and hate me.
It totally feels like my life.
Right? And it's like, what? I added more value. This was more valuable speech. Doesn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. He's a likable guy. He's relatable and likable. I'm not relatable or likable. So I have to just lean into that and be okay with it because I'm a statistical anomaly. I'm an engineering thinker and I'm very, very rare. The point is, Kev was afraid to not be respected and not be admired for being an achiever. And I was afraid to be hated my entire life. So we both had to face our deepest fear. His deepest fear was not being good enough. My deepest fear was basically being ostracized socially because I don't relate well. And people, when I try to relate, they can tell it's not authentic.
I can fit in with people and make them feel comfortable. I don't feel authentic. They don't notice it, but it's a me thing.
Because Jess, you're likable. I mean,
but how do you know that likability isn't manufactured by her dimming? Right? A lot of the things that I've said here are not likable things to say.
Yeah.
And that takes tremendous social courage. So Kevin's needed competence courage. He needed to do the speech, write the resume, do the cover letter, try the thing. I needed to have social courage. Social courage for me, vulnerability is actually owning who I am and owning the contrast of who I am. It's very scary. And I know that's resonating, Jess. Admit, you know what? I'm not that great. And you know what? And he is great. That's the truth. But he needs to own that he's not type A.
Is it really not like you're afraid of not being great. It's you not believing that you're great, because it's really different. Because you can be great, but not believing it.
I think for me, it's both. So when I was young, my dad left. And I think there was a part of me that internalized that as, well, if I was better, smarter, whatever, he would have stayed around. Again, I'm a baby, so that's kind of out of my control, but I didn't know that at the time. So that became the record that played in my head is, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm never going to be successful. Nobody in my family had a college education. We were broke. There wasn't a lot of hope. It just didn't seem like there was a lot of hope. In high school, I was really good at baseball, Claude. All-star, captain of the team, but I thought I just got luckier more often than other people. So I had this record of, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I get lucky, I guess, when it comes to things. No, my biggest fear is failure. My biggest fear is going and giving a speech and making a mistake or bombing. That's like my deep fear. Now I think I'm getting to the place where I feel I feel very competent in this. Like this is well within my comfort zone. But I still have anxiety around things that I'm doing for the first time. I would guarantee that I did more research of you guys than Alan did because I like the certainty. I need to know who I'm talking to. I need to know what you do in the world. I need to look at your social medias. That's as much about trying to be a consummate professional as it is. It gives me certainty and confidence in what I'm doing. So my deepest fear is rejection, not being good enough, not being smart enough. Like I still deal with that to this day.
Judging subject. What do you think of our Instagram?
Literally.
Claude leads the Instagram, in case you're wondering.
Claude, the first thing I thought is they're really good at marketing. It was the first thing I thought. Like, you guys are really good at marketing. Your page does a really good job of promoting the podcast by indirectly promoting the podcast. So, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. As of today, I've been on 985 other podcasts. You're in the top 5% of social medias I've seen.
Oh,
Yeah. Strong work.
Nice.
Oh, Jess, it's together. It's not just me, right?
Well, strong work, both of you.
Yeah.
Well,
we did it.
one thing, if I can extend an olive branch, is Kevin is better at social media than I am because Kevin understands people and the way they think more than I do. So, Jess, the fears that he talked about, fear of failure, like we don't have as much of a fear of failure. We just think, okay, we'll just fail forward,
keep going.
fail forward,
and
fail
like
forward.
keep going and check the numbers. Did that one work?
Yeah,
okay, that
100%.
didn't work. This will work.
Actually have a fear of success. And give me a minute. Okay. Whenever we shined, our relationships would suffer. So we've been conditioned to not shine unless someone else is with us. So this is landing.
Well,
okay.
walk me through that because that's fascinating to me because one of the values of us creating this work bestie community is to rely on each other to raise each other up, which you want to successfully achieve growth, both of you. Now, not everyone owns a business together, so sometimes it's not going to be as succinct as that. But you would hope of those that do work together or decide to work together, that would be their like greatest success in life, and they'd be
Well,
so.
I think to the yin and yang conversation, to you two's strength, what I've come to understand over years and years of trying to coach and help different types of individuals. Some are type A like you, Jess, and what I need to do with you is very different than what I need to do with a Kevin. Kevin is not type A. He's not naturally type A. He can do type A behaviors, but he's not naturally an achiever. He doesn't identify, I'm an achiever. Jess, you do. You might not say it socially, but you do, 100%. The point that I'm making here is we all have a record playing. Kevin's record in his unconscious is, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, it's not going to work out for me, I'm not going to be successful. But if you ask him whether or not he can get along with people, I mean, no problem. Absolutely. He's the best ever with people. Okay. Claude, she's smiling right now. Claude knows the same deal, right? Jess, you feel like you have to change who you are in order to get along with people. And you might not talk about this publicly, so I apologize if I'm ousting you.
No, I do. I definitely do.
So what a Jess does is she squats 1,000 pounds behind the scenes when no one's watching, and then she pretends she struggles around other people. And it's to create belonging. And when in reality, you don't actually struggle with self-doubt that much, but that intimidates people. So you like to talk about how you have self-doubt. But what you don't realize is that you actually love failure and you're trying to fail forward and you love getting better and you're never going to stop. So these are just different types of people, and it's all based on a core wound. So the record playing in your mind is it's all going to work out. We got this. We can do it. See, look, we got this. We can do it. Yeah,
Like,
100%.
We're gonna do this. We got it.
Yes. However, when it comes to having successful friendships and successful relationships, there's fear there. There's like, I don't know, is this person going to abandon me? Are they going to poison people against me? Are they going to rip me a new one? I can't let them too close because they're going to rip my heart out. So vulnerability for Kevin is stepping on stage, feeling incompetent. Vulnerability for us is telling you that we actually don't struggle with self-doubt that much. That is like a no-fly zone. You cannot say that. I mean, the amount of courage, I'm probably red right now. Like the amount of courage it takes to say that I don't have a ton of self-doubt, not like me. Arrogant, hubris, butthead, right? But other type A's are like, hell yeah. Like Gary Vee is not going to be like, oh, what a dick. Because Gary Vee has undying self-belief as well. But most people think he's a dick. And I understand why. And I'm not for or against Gary Vee. That's not my point. My point is that the type A super achievers of the world don't understand that most people don't have self-belief and they have a different record playing. The record they have playing determines how they see the world.
Because I don't think I'm type A in total. Like I am in type A with this business and in certain aspects of my work career. But from a personal life standpoint, I'm definitely not the type A person.
That makes perfect sense.
Does it?
Type A is mostly career.
Yes.
Right.
So do you feel like that means that you could still balance a little bit between, like, I don't think I'm super a chameleon, maybe a little at work, but no, I don't know.
Yeah, not everything I feel like Jess. I think like you're real with me.
Jess, have you ever actually failed at anything that you did long enough?
Given up? So I would consider that a failure, yeah.
So you decided to stop something. Have you ever tried something that you really wanted and actually not achieved it?
Yes, I can think of a couple of things, but then I do believe I also just kind of gave up on them.
Right. And again, I know this is very deep stuff. Usually type A's, they decide, I don't really want to do that anymore. It's not really worth it anymore. They don't actually think they couldn't do it. There's very little Jess believes she can't do, unconsciously. Right. And this is all in the unconscious. None of this is conscious. I don't want to rock you guys' world. The yin and yang, it's a beautiful thing. You guys, Claude is naturally more humble. Okay. And Jess, you're naturally have a higher self-belief. And that's why Claude is saying that you would have been successful with her without me, but she doesn't necessarily think that same way. And that's okay. The beautiful part about the yin and the yang is that you two are better together because she doesn't have the weaknesses that come with your strengths. Kevin doesn't have the weaknesses that come with my strengths.
Like the creativity, like you hit on it. Claude is way more creative than me. I'm more like, these are the numbers we have to hit and how we have to get them. Here's some 100%. Ideas, and I just throw them at her. And I'm like, which one do you think will work?
If you research all successful businesses, they have creatives with super achieving metrics and habits, type A modalities of thinking. It's really beautiful when you do the research on this. Yeah, go ahead, Claude.
You know what is funny also is that because we work together, hence work besties, that's how we started. And from that point, there was that yin and the yang. Her strength was my weakness. Could have been like a relationship that can crush each other with our strengthness. But on the opposite, we were lifting each other up. And how many times, Jess, you helped me with the whole analytical things and your strength? That I do believe that in some way I did help you on other things as well.
For sure. Absolutely.
So that's what I think, that it can go both ways. Again, crush each other, or you have this sparkle where you lift each other and you help each other and you make it stronger. You become stronger.
I think that every Jess needs someone who can unconditionally love her.
Yes.
And every Claude needs someone who is a Jess who believes in her.
My God.
And that's what you guys are, and that's beautiful. And that's super
rare.
That
is true.
Super rare.
I love that.
Claude, if you unconditionally love Jess in her greatness, she's going to lean into that, and that's what your business needs. And Jess, anytime Claude is struggling, just tell her how much you believe in her.
Which she does.
And that, you guys, if you keep that up, you guys got it.
We interviewed you so much as you interviewed us today.
This is what happens when Alan connects with someone. He's like, that person's like me. This is what happens.
This has been very educational for us, and I do appreciate it. I will say, if you're half as good with your clients as you were with us today, my goodness, I get why you guys have been podcasting
Successful.
for over 2,000 episodes and have so many clients. This is real important stuff that really helps you get to the next level. It's very impressive.
Thank you. And thank you for sitting in the discomfort of that.
The experience of somebody else doing their thing. There's lessons in that. And Claude, I don't know if you resonate with that or not, but if so, awesome. I added some value on this episode. Also, just for anybody listening, I was the guy. I was the guy who talked about the ice cream truck. That was me. So don't forget that.
No,
Next level ice cream.
Kevin, it's true. Totally agree. I'm the Kevin where I'm okay to step back, because why do I want to compete on someone that is so good in speeches?
One thing that we didn't hit on that it definitely is shining through with you two, and it shines through with us as well, is when you find that yin to your yang, you do need to have the respect and ability to be vulnerable, because that's the best person to give you honest feedback, and you'll take it. Because to your point, Alan, we're the type of people that people come at us with feedback all the time.
All the time.
I don't care.
All the time.
Don't believe anything you're saying.
Well, remember, rocks always get thrown at the tallest tree. Compliments usually go down and rocks go up. It's very important. And again, if you seem very confident, people are testing it unconsciously. They need to know if you're actually confident. What they don't know is that we're just people trying to serve.
Right.
And we've been beaten up our whole life. I think if I could extend this olive branch, the paradox that we've figured out is that my fear is being the CEO because I'm afraid of success. Rocks get thrown at the CEO. Okay? Jess is resonating. Here's the paradox. You guys ever hear that quote? It is not our darkness but our light that most frightens us.
Yes, I've heard it before.
It is not our darkness but our light that most frightens us. Resonate with you, Jess?
It does.
Okay, here's the paradox. Kev was afraid to be overlooked. I'm actually afraid to be center stage. Seriously, I know it doesn't seem like it because we've evolved. But I used to try to push him to the front of the stage so that the rocks hit him instead of me. But no one throws rocks at him. It's a paradox.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so fear of failure, fear of success. Whichever one is bigger, you have the opposite problems and you have the opposite strengths. And that's all I'm saying is that Jess is not going to claim CEO. She needs to be given it by you, Claude. And Claude,
I'm giving it to you.
You've had to learn how. Well, that's beautiful. That means you're very mature. So Kevin has had to learn how to be a number 2, and I've had to learn how to be a number 1. My deepest fear is being disliked and villainized. His deepest fear is being not significant and not good enough. So that's all I'm saying, is that it's very paradoxical. But that's the paradox, and so we all have to face our deepest fear. We all have to face our deepest fear, and some of us that's failure and not being good enough, and some of us it's being too much for others. Yes, you're more afraid to be too much than you are of not enough. And that's just the truth. And we know that. And again, this is a public medium, so I didn't mean to turn this into a coaching call. I just wanted to extend this for anyone out there watching or listening.
Yes.
The paradox is facing your deepest fear. The problem is, I always say there's 2 types of people who are fearful and liars. I'm afraid, just not afraid of the same thing as Kev. And we learned that from each other. I never would have known this if it wasn't for Kev. And I basically having the humility, courage, and vulnerability to sit in the discomfort of the post interview with Stephen Kotler going, I don't understand, like, why I was so uncomfortable there. Okay, why wasn't I? And I'm uncomfortable at the barbecue. It's like, okay, why wasn't I? So we had these conversations and we've learned so much from each other. And I know you two feel that same way. Again, I think life is very paradoxical. And once you identify and face it, ironically, once Kevin faces his fear of not being good enough, guess who's going to be more than good enough, right?
Yeah.
And once I face my fear of being hated, now I can actually have the courage to share what is true for me, which is what I've had to do with this entire episode, basically.
You've done it beautifully.
Thank you, Jess.
All right. I'm going to ask us the last question. If you remember at the very beginning, I said that you would provide for us a key lesson that you learned about balancing your personal growth and maintaining that supportive friendship. What would that be? The coaching you would give to your clients or anybody listening to our podcast?
Times the balance that you think you want is not actually the balance that you need. Somebody sitting across from you will be able to see that and say, hey, brother, I know you want to like hang out and play video games all day. I don't really think that's what you deeply, deeply want. And I do think you might regret that at some point. So maybe we could reapproach and revisit what balance actually means from a more aligned place. Sometimes we want to villainize the people who give us some of the best advice. So just sit with it. The balance is different for everybody. And sometimes people can see parts of you that you can't see yet. That would be my advice.
What he's referring to there, if I really want to see Kevin succeed, I want him to win. I'm talking deep in my soul and my heart and my mind. I have to tell him the things that I don't even want to tell him. I didn't want to tell him that. That's how I know it's not for me. I genuinely would be better off not telling you.
Well, in the short run.
In the short run. And since you're my business partner, there's got to be a level of accountability there. What he's referring to there is just being vulnerable. It's so vulnerable for me to share my truth with Kevin because I don't want him to feel bad about himself, but I do want to see him win. There's no way this could have worked without courage, humility, and vulnerability, especially vulnerability and courage, because we've had many tears. Like seriously, we've had really hard conversations, life-altering conversations. I mean, we're not in this as a hobby. This is our full-time job. This is our career and our calling, and we take it very, very seriously.
I love to see this relationship.
Alan and Kevin, can you guys remind our audience again where they can find you?
If you search Next Level University, you'll find us on all the audio platforms. You'll find us on YouTube. Our website is nextleveluniverse.com. And then Alan's Instagram is at ALAZAROS, and mine is at NeverQuitKid. Mine is better than Alan's for sure.
Alan and Kevin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Empowering for me personally. Claude and I have a lot to talk about from this, and feeling very much like you've supported us and given us some tools and resources just within this short conversation.
And I'm sure to all the work besties, because at some point, all of them listening, they always know which one is the Kevin/Claude and which one is the Jess/Alan, right? So why don't you drop, a little message on Instagram and let us know, or even on YouTube, let us know which one is which in your pair. If you enjoyed this episode as much as we did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you next week.
Remember, whether you're swapping snacks in the break room, rescuing each other from endless meetings, or just sending that perfectly timed meme, having a work bestie is like having your own personal hype squad.
So keep lifting each other up, laughing through the chaos, and of course, thriving. Until next time, stay positive, stay productive, and don't forget to keep supporting each other.